Is casual gaming doomed, and do developers only care about esports and money? Well, before I go into this, I want to say that casual and PvP, I do believe, never go good together. It's because just competition and casual, like you always have somebody in a PvP game in a competition that wants to be better, who wants to be better. So at one point, you will feel this competition, which is no longer casual, and skill-based matchmaking is supporting that actually. It's also kind of different with engagement-based matchmaking. So basically, games nowadays, especially free-to-play titles, try to keep you in a 50% win rate, so you always keep engaged with the game and play it, because you may have, like, you lose 2 games, but then you win a game because the engagement-based matchmaking actually wants to keep you in the game. So PvP is always kind of going to be a sweat fest. No matter how. If it's skill-based matchmaking, engagement-based, it doesn't matter. It's competition. But times were actually different when games like Modern Warfare 2 were around, World at War. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were always people who were really good at the game. Practice makes perfect, right? If you practice one punch 10,000 times, you are going to be good at throwing that one punch. And it's the same with video games. No matter which video game, but especially in competition, having other players, that ceiling will be much higher. Not so with PvE games, but what changed PvP games? Because PvE are kind of still the same, but there has been a change in PvP games. And I do believe a big focus was esports. And I believe that esports changed the direction of a lot of games. Why did it do that? Well, nowadays, big companies, they have investors. They have people in suits who may not even be gamers, yeah? The numbers game, basically. And when investors focus on money, and these people have like a big opinion in those companies because they got the money, you know, their word, there's a lot of worth on their word, you know, and they saw esports and they were like, yeah, you know what, in this esports thing, there's a lot of money in that. So, because especially esports, it is cool. Esports is something, especially gamers, we like to see that, right? But watch it. For example, I could never imagine like playing Counter-Strike in this professional level, yeah. But watching it is actually kind of exciting, kind of like every sports, you know. And esports has this traction. It has people watching, and this brings in money. So investors are like, okay, what if we focus on that in our games to get more money, to get more numbers? So this is one direction PvP games have changed, and that's because esports is now a bigger focus. The skill ceiling, I believe, gets higher because competition got reinforced, skill got reinforced, which wasn't the case back then. You know, you came home from work and you play Call of Duty with your boys, or you played alone with randoms, but you could come home from work and hop on around, you know. Nowadays, you're gonna get your ass beaten if you don't sweat, and skill-based matchmaking will take care of that. Which wasn't like a thing back then, yeah. So rounds were much more random. Another thing is, especially in free-to-play games, like developers understood our monkey brain. Developers understood our brain. And in a lot of free-to-play games, you can see stuff like daily rewards. I mean, I talked about this a lot, but there are daily challenges, rewards, login rewards, battle passes. You basically get a lot of awards. You know, for doing nothing, for just logging in. You're getting a reward for starting a game, and the game says, "Good job." But the problem is the game tells you that you did a good job a lot of times, and that plays with your dopamine, with our dopamine, and keeps us engaged in the game, because in comparison to real life, like awards and everything, like we don't get it that often. We don't get this happy feeling if we get something. Like the game gives us something, a reward all the damn time. In real life, it's not that easy that we get rewards. If you work out, like if you train your bicep, for example, if you do it once, you won't see a lot actually. You have to go weeks until you see a difference. But in video games, you get it immediately. And that is also something that keeps us engaged, even if we maybe don't want to. Maybe we don't even like the game we're playing anymore, because we were already 3 hours into the solo queue. But we're getting rewarded, and our brain likes that. So we have an esports influence. We have the money man in the background, and we have dopamine systems that changed our game's landscape. Though what I heard a lot is that people say casual games are dead. There are no more casual games. And I do believe that is not true at all. I am speaking from a PC gamer's perspective. I play my games on Steam. I have some other launchers too, because nowadays you need a launcher for every fucking thing. But mainly on Steam. But casual games are not dead. When I look at Steam, there are so many great games. And if you say casual games are dead and the only games that you play are competitive games, well, I'm sorry to say, but you're looking at the wrong type of games. And I do believe that for console players, it is much more difficult. Because those big companies are normally the ones who dominate the market on consoles. While we at Steam, when you go into the top sellers or the worldwide top sellers on the store page, you can see a lot of indie games from indie developers who may not even focus on all these shady techniques and esports influence. And one thing that we have is single player games and PvE games. I mean, single player games are out there. PlayStation, God of War, you know, Xbox, the Halo campaigns. You know, it's not like we don't have the options. The focus is just different, because you hear a lot about people being so good in video games. But single player games and PvE games, they can be hard, yes, but there's more of a focus on casual gaming, where you're not sitting in front of your screen hyper focused with like training your reflexes and everything. Like that's not everything nowadays. That's not every game. And I do believe, like I said, PC gamers have it easier there. They have a bigger variation of games when it comes to single player and PvE. I'm gonna give you some examples. Deep Rock Galactic, Warframe, Chivalry, Minecraft, the classic, Slay the Spire, Hades, Diablo, Team Fortress 2, which is, how old is that game? 2008? Somewhere around that. And it still holds up. It has like 60,000 players still. Let me check what I just bought. I actually bought a game called Barony. Then we have Ravenswatch, Shape of Dreams, We Who Are About to Die, Clone Drone in Danger Zone. You know, those are all games which don't even have PvP in them, you know. Okay, maybe Warframe has PvP, Chivalry is a PvP game. And I'm not sure about, yeah, and Team Fortress, of course. But they're more casual, right? So, the indie games, they do not get as much attention as the big players. Like if I talk to somebody, do you know the game, I don't know, Barony? Nobody's gonna know what I'm talking about when I talk to my people. Nobody will know actually. But esports games and games with this high competition actually have this big wow effect. All these systems, all these battle passes and stuff. And the next thing is like advertisement. How much do these indie games advertise their games? Of course they can't because they don't have this big budget. But I think that's why we have to sometimes look at indie games, because they do make better games in some cases, really. I just played a game called Witchfire, which is like a roguelike shooter with like some horror elements, I would say. Like Dark Souls with shooting and roguelike. And that's not a AAA game. But it's really good and it runs good. How many AAA games nowadays are getting released that don't even run good on a really good PC? I really have a good PC. I loved Space Marine 2, and it's an incredible co-op and PvE game, but it doesn't perform that good. I mean, if we talk 60 FPS, of course, yes, but I have a 165 hard monitor. No chance I'm gonna get that in Space Marine 2. So that's why I believe if you have the feeling that casual gaming is dead, look at the indie market. There are so many good games out there which also have a great community. Look at the Deep Rock Galactic community. I maybe have met one toxic person in that game yet. And how many hours do I have in Deep Rock? Where is it? I have 87 hours. You know, and the community in Deep Rock is just great. Rock and Stone, you know? And yeah, I don't think we should like doom the casual gaming and it's only about money. No, I don't believe so. There are so many games that can be fun. If you want to settle down after a hard day at work, why don't you start something like Valheim? It was a long time since I played Valheim, but it's more like this. You are in nature, it has really nice sounds, the graphic is kind of maybe minimalistic is the word I'm searching for. I'm not sure. It has this strange effect, which is kind of calming. Yeah. So, what I want to know now from you guys is, how do you feel about casual gaming? Is it dead? What's your opinion on that? What games do you play after work? Like, what games do you engage in? Are you still going for Call of Duty? You say you want action after work. That's my way how I can wind down. Or do I play something more chill, like, I don't know, for example, Valheim? And maybe what games do you think are still fun, but because of their gameplay and not because of daily challenges or weekly challenges? You know, like, intrinsically from your perspective, what game has actual fun gameplay? You log in because the gameplay is just fun. Like, maybe think about these 3 questions and tell me in the comments what you think about that. Because I actually haven't talked about this topic with my friends a lot, you know, so a new perspective from you guys would be really appreciated to that. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Drop a like if you did, and I'll see you next time. Peace.